welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most influential books on success ever written, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. We've boiled down its core philosophy into a simple, practical blueprint for you. Let's jump right in.
You've probably heard this quote a million times, right? It's the famous line that has inspired countless people. But here's the thing. Hill wasn't just talking about a nice, fuzzy idea. He saw it as a statement of fact, a glimpse into how our minds really work. It's a repeatable method that's way more powerful than just wishful thinking. So if it's not some kind of magic trick, what is it? How does it actually work? Well, the book isn't about just hoping for the best. It actually lays out a very deliberate step-by-step process. You could almost call it a kind of mental technology that anyone, and yeah, that includes you, can use to make big goals a reality. The entire philosophy is built on one single foundational secret, and it is a big one. It's the idea that your thoughts are actual, real things. And once you really get this, it changes everything about how you see your own potential.
Here's the core idea. Your thoughts aren't just these fleeting, abstract little puffs of smoke. No, they have a real, tangible energy. They are the raw material for absolutely everything you create in your life, whether it's wealth, health, or any other goal. Your mind is the factory, and you're the one in charge of production.
Okay, so if thoughts are the raw material, what's the very first step in the assembly line? The blueprint kicks off with what Hill called the head chemist of the mind, and that is faith.
Now, Hill is super specific here. This isn't about passive wishing or just kind of hoping things work out. This is an active, commanding conviction. It's a state of mind you have to build, you have to cultivate, by telling your subconscious, that deep, powerful part of your mind, what you want over and over again, until it accepts your goal not just as a possibility, but as a fact.
And this difference is absolutely critical. Wishing is like sitting in a parked car with the engine off, just hoping you'll get somewhere. Believing, in the way Hill describes it, is turning the key, hitting the gas, and actually driving. One is totally powerless, the other one commands the engine of your mind to move you forward.
And look, this isn't just a theory. It has actually been tested. In one famous study, they split basketball players into 3 groups. Group 1 practiced free throws every day. Group 2 did nothing. But Group 3, they only visualized making perfect shots. And the results were staggering. The visualization group improved by 23%, almost exactly the same as the group that physically practiced. Their minds believed it, and their bodies followed suit.
All right, so you have the belief, but you still need a concrete plan, right? So the next part of the blueprint is the creative engine, where all those plans are born. He calls it your imagination.
Now, Hill breaks imagination down into 2 types. There's creative imagination, which is for those brand new, out-of-the-blue ideas, but he says the real workhorse, the one that builds most fortunes, is synthetic imagination. This is where you just take existing ideas and you rearrange them into new, powerful combinations. It's not about inventing from nothing. It's about innovating with what's already there. Think about the Post-it note. Seriously, a scientist at 3M created this super weak glue. It was a complete failure. But years later, a colleague was annoyed that his bookmarks kept falling out of his book. He used his synthetic imagination, connected the failed glue to his problem, and boom, a billion-dollar product was born from 2 existing ideas. Or take McDonald's. Ray Kroc didn't invent the hamburger. He saw this little burger stand that was super efficient, and he used his synthetic imagination to combine that idea with the principles of a Ford assembly line. That simple mashup of 2 old ideas completely revolutionized the food industry forever. So you have a thought. You've infused it with faith. You've used your imagination to shape it into a plan. But there's one more piece you need to light the fuse. It's the catalyst that turns all that potential into real action. And that's a definite decision. When Hill studied all these incredibly successful people, he found one trait they all shared. They made decisions quickly, and they stuck with them. He points to the 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence. They didn't just debate freedom. They made a firm, non-negotiable decision, and they literally bet their lives on it. That single moment of decision was the point of no return. And this leads to a pretty harsh truth. Indecision is the absolute enemy of progress.
A goal without a firm decision behind it is just a wish. It's the courage to finally make that choice, to say, this is what I'm doing, and cut off all other options that gives your plan its real power. So we've got the blueprint, a burning desire, backed up by faith, shaped with imagination, and locked in with a decision. But what's the engine that actually drives this whole thing? Well, it's the most powerful and most hidden part of your mind. Let me introduce you to your subconscious mind. Think of it as this giant silent partner that works for you 24/7. Its only job is to take your most dominant thoughts and get to work turning them into your reality. And remember that basketball study? It proves the subconscious can't tell the difference between something that's real and something that's just vividly imagined. You program it by repeatedly telling it what you want, with feeling. Hill called this autosuggestion. But here is the secret ingredient. You can give your subconscious instructions all day long, but they won't have any real power without fuel. And that fuel is emotion. A simple thought, when you mix it with a powerful emotion like burning desire or unwavering faith, it becomes this magnetic force that your subconscious has to act on. Emotion is what gives your thoughts life. Now, all of this sounds fantastic, but there is one huge obstacle that stands between most people and their goals. And the tricky thing is, it doesn't live out there in the world. It lives right inside your own mind. Hill pointed to these 6 basic fears that haunt pretty much all of us. He called them ghosts because they are these phantoms that paralyze our ambition and they sabotage our plans. And these negative emotions, well, they can program your subconscious for failure just as easily as positive ones can program it for success.
So take an honest look at this list for a second. The fear of what other people will think, the fear of criticism, or the fear of losing everything, the fear of poverty. Which one of these ghosts has the most power over you? Because just recognizing it, just naming your primary fear is the absolute first step to mastering it and taking back control.
And that brings us to the complete 5-step method all laid out. You don't just wish, you define a burning desire. You don't just hope, you believe with total faith. You don't just dream, you create a plan. You don't just think about it, you decide to act. And finally, you conquer the fears that are trying to stop you.
And that right there is the ultimate takeaway from Think and Grow Rich. The power to achieve anything isn't out there somewhere. It's right here. It starts and it ends with your ability to control your own mind. So the only question left is this: what thought will you choose to turn into your reality?